and welcome to What's in this week's Oban Times with me, Kathy Griffiths.
Me, Owen Wild.
Me, Jodie Hagan.
And me, Sandy Neal.
As usual, we have lots for you in this week's paper and online at www.westcoasttoday.co.uk. We love hearing your stories, so if you've got news, get in touch. You can also send in your photos. Contact us by emailing editor@obantimes.co.uk, call us on 01631 568 000, or go to our social platforms including Facebook and X, formerly Twitter. This week we have special photo coverage of Remembrance Day services across our district, as well as a heartwarming story about a chance meeting between a man from Dumbag and the Dutchman who has been looking after his war hero dad's grave for decades, unsung. Domestic abuse incidents have doubled in some parts of Argyll. Police Scotland say it's a sign that the force is lifting the lid on this type of offending and is gaining the trust of women to report those offences. Find out more about that in the OT and online. And over on Colonsea, Islanders have been protesting on the pier in a bid to save their Monday ferry service during the winter times. So you can read about that as well in the OT and online. Over to you, Owen.
Thanks very much, Kathy. Well, there's trouble on Tiree. The community is calling for a new form of public transport after going over a year with none. One local has described how many people have to walk for miles to get anywhere, and how for some, the lack of a bus has left them isolated. The Tiree Community Council is working on a solution though. Find out what they're doing in this week's paper. Also in this week's paper, we look at how salmon farming has bounced back following record deaths in recent years. And over on West Coast Today, anger has been sparked as the council fails to publish all of the objections to its harbour board plans for a second time. Octa is calling for clarity from the council and wants a meeting to discuss the objections.
Thanks, Owen. What have you got for us this week, Jodie?
Well, a group of ladies from Islay have been working very hard to raise money for digital therapy systems to help patients and residents in Islay Hospital and a local care home, and recently they took on a 10-mile moonlight walk. You can find out more about their fundraising mission in this week's Oban Times and online. In other news, with the festive season creeping closer, St Conan's Kirk is preparing for its magical Christmas tree festival, which will take place at the end of the month. The volunteer organisers are not the only ones who have been busy though. Creativity is in the air throughout the community as tree decoration gets underway. And recently, 2 Oban artists travelled to Lochaw to run a tree decorating workshop. Finally, for me, 2 siblings from Ballachulish will be taking on a 10,000 feet skydive to raise money for the intensive care unit at Raigmore Hospital, where their brother Liam Stewart was cared for in the days after he attempted to take his own life. Katie and John hope to give back to the ICU that supported their family and spread awareness of men's mental health. Read more about their fundraiser in this week's Lochaber Times or online.
Thank you, Jodie. Sandy, what headlines have you got?
Thank you very much, Kathy. Well, island businesses might as well pack up and leave unless CalMac's ferry booking system is fixed, says the coal farmer and former Scotland rugby captain Rob Wainwright. Plans are in place for any severe winter weather at the Rest and Be Thankful. Good news in this week's Lochaber Times, a deal has been agreed to save Moss Park Care Home in Fort William from closure. And in this week's Argyllshire Advertiser, you can read all about the dramatic rescue of an entangled humpback whale in Loch Fyne. And this week, we have been lucky to have reporter Hannah McIver from Oban here on Work Experience. You can read Hannah's great stories in this week's Oban Times and online at westcoasttoday.co.uk. Hannah, what stories have you been looking into this week?
It's one small step for Highland rocket firm Orbex, but could be a giant leap for the Highland economy. Plans have been revealed for the world's first carbon-neutral spaceport, and after it sparked a backlash, the Scottish Government has extinguished its wood-burning stove ban.
Thank you for that, Hannah. OK, well, to keep up with what's happening, pick up a copy of this week's OT from all the usual shops and retail spots, or subscribe online at www.westcoasttoday.co.uk. That's it from us this week. Have a good week ahead. Goodbye. Goodbye from me, Kathy Griffiths.
Goodbye from me, Owen Wild.
Goodbye from me, Judy Hegan.
Goodbye from me, Hannah MacGyver.
And goodbye from me, Sandy Neal.
Bye.
Bye.